What is a startup? The way I see it is we are actually surrounded by startups. When you walk out in any town in India, you will see hundreds of businesses, thousands of businesses. These are all small businesses. And in fact, most of the jobs in India are not formal paid jobs at all, and they should be considered entrepreneurs. And they are small scale, maybe only 1% businesses, but they are still businesses. Because at the end of the day, they still have to make money, enough money to survive, which is the good definition of a business. And they have to serve some customer in order to earn that money. So in that sense, they are really a startup. So I don't want to really glorify that startup, the word startup, because when you overthink it, you tend to be afraid of it. When you think everybody is actually doing it, when you realize that everybody is doing it, it becomes actually easier to do. The second thing now is bootstrapping, and Zoho is a bootstrap company, and I am a fan of bootstrapping. So what is bootstrapping? I look at it as you are starting in a year -5 rather than year 0. And you spend those 5 years learning business, learning how to build a product, how to sell, how to service customers, how to collect money, maybe how to manage employees. None of these things actually can be learned in any kind of school. And business school is actually a misnomer that way, because it cannot really teach you business. You can only learn business by doing it. And all of those people who are in business, those thousands of businesses that surround us, they're actually in the real world of, real school of business. And so that's what I believe is real business ought to be. And being in business, you actually make mistakes. I've made my share of mistakes. In fact, those 5 years I said, those -5 to 0 years, I actually spent money. And maybe I spent 10, 15 lakhs of my own money making mistakes. The very first product I tried to launch, it didn't even get off the drawing board. I spent all my money without even having a product in the market. That was the first mistake of life, and it taught me a lot of lessons. And it was better that I did not raise money to make that mistake, because learning it this way were actually much more powerful lesson. And sometimes when you raise money, you tend not to learn the lesson because you spent somebody else's money and you don't actually end up learning anything. So that's why making mistakes your own way is actually often beneficial, even if it's a mistake. So how do you scale a business? To me, you can only think about scaling in the long term. Sometimes business gets lucky and it grows really rapidly, but that's not actually the usual pattern. When you read about these exceptions, but in reality, you can only plan on scaling a business over the long haul. Because there's a lot of things involved here. It's not merely just revenue growth, because you have to develop the skill sets in the company, you have to develop the managerial depth. All of these go hand in hand with scaling. And these things don't just magically happen. It's not like, sometimes you read these stories as though somebody magically grew from $0 to $1 billion. But there's nothing really magical when you're in the middle of it. There's a lot of experience, all of that goes together, and that can only be gained long term in most companies. And sometimes when you see that in a Silicon Valley scaling rapidly, that's because people came together they already had prior experience and they came together in this place to just scale it up rapidly. In India, that we don't have that luxury. A lot of new businesses have to be born. We still have maybe $1,000 billion businesses to be born still in India. And all of those businesses have to scale the old-fashioned way, which is to develop their own internal talent pool. That is how they have to scale up. So I wish the startup community good luck. May your dreams come true.